Ladies and gentlemen, again, it is day 19 of the Russian invasion, and I am Androshchuk, coordinator of Media Center Ukraine. And again, on behalf of our team, I would like to welcome all the journalists who cover our fight for independence here in the free and unbroken country of Ukraine. And while we are waiting for other journalists to join us, I would like to encourage those of you who have not dropped your emails downstairs at the reception, please do so. When we have your email, we'll be able to send you all our announcements, and you'll be the first to get all the necessary information from us. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Yuriy Husyev, Director General of the Ukrainian concern Ukroboronprom, and he'll be followed by Viktor Androshchuk, Director of the Lviv Armored Vehicles Plant. Mr. Husyev, the floor is yours.
Can you hear me well? Glory to Ukraine. Glory to hear us.
Technical issues. I think we are good with that. I'll just remind you that Ukroboronprom is a state-run concern which is responsible for equipping the Ukrainian armed forces and with the weapons necessary to complement the courage and the patriotism of our men and women in uniforms. Mr. Husyev, the floor is yours.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you to everyone, whoever is supporting the armed forces of Ukraine. We've been working with the highest preparedness since day one of the Russian invasion. During the first week, we provided the armed forces of Ukraine with substantial weapons and equipment, the same amount as during the previous half a year. The provided weapons amount to billions and billions of hryvnias. We are supported by Ukrainian volunteers. We also announced the hiring of additional staff for some occupations and specialties within our concern. And in the past several days, over 100 people have joined our team throughout our production facilities in different parts of the country. I would like to underscore that we are working as a single team with the General Staff of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. We are in perpetual communications with the General Staff of the Chief Commander of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and we are fulfilling all the tasks in line with the needs of our armed forces. Supply of military vehicles and equipment, repair of captured military vehicles and equipment from our enemy, cooperation with the international partners that assist us with armament and provision supply for our armed forces.
How you deal with the weapons and equipment captured by the Ukrainian armed forces from the Russians?
As for the military vehicles and equipment captured from the Russian enemy, we do our utmost to repair these vehicles and equipment as soon as possible so that they will be used by our military. Like, for example, the armored vehicles Tiger. These are the vehicles that our armed forces of Ukraine do not have in their arsenal. We repair these vehicles within the shortest period of time possible so that our armed forces will be able to employ these vehicles. So we are in tight cooperation with the entire team of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine in diverse regions of our country, including those regions that are being sheltered or under attack right now, and we are very grateful to all of them. Any questions from the audience? I have the following question. Are you planning to move some of your enterprises and production facilities to Lviv region? If yes, have you discussed this issue with the Lviv authorities, and are they ready to provide you with the vacant facilities, considering the current situation? In fact, we are discussing different options and scenarios in close coordination with regional governors and city mayors. I'm on daily contact with the regional governors, including the Lviv governor. We are discussing different possibilities for reinforcing and ramping up our production in different parts of Ukraine, but we are also working in those parts of the country that are under attack, because we want to make sure that our armed forces of Ukraine are fully ready for the attack. And I have another question. I'm not really sure that you can disclose this information, but how many captured vehicles, the ones captured from the Russian enemy, have you already remodeled or repaired? Unfortunately, this is the information that I cannot disclose at this point. The only thing I can point out is that we are doing it in close coordination with the General Staff, and we announced a reward amounting to $1 million USD for those who are willing to transfer an airplane of the armed forces of the Russian Federation to us, because we believe that we can use this aircraft to reinforce the aviation resources of the armed forces of Ukraine.
Caleb Larson, the New York Sun. I've read online that some Russian vehicles appear to have been abandoned and sabotaged by Russian forces themselves. Can you confirm this? And if so, can you give us a rough estimate of those numbers? Thank you.
I cannot really provide you with any comments at this point. You should forward this question to the armed forces of Ukraine. I've received similar information from some regional governors. For example, the governor of Mykolaiv region, Mr. Kim. This is something that he regularly posts in his social media accounts. But we are certain that the strong spirit of the armed forces of Ukraine forces the Russian invaders to abandon their equipment and vehicles and run for their lives. And I think that everyone right now can have certainty in our victory.
Western allies, how has it changed since the invasion started?
You know that our Western partners have been supporting the Ministry of Defense, and you can find more details on the official pages and websites of the Ministry of Defense. As part of our international cooperation, we also closely interact with Western partners and allies, and we really hope that we will receive the much needed support and assistance, not only from our government, but from the entire Europe and Western world.
Your team and at the plants all over the country. Most of the people, I can assume, work under very difficult circumstances, under the pressure of the military time. How would you describe it?
Our mood is combat-like. We operate 24/7, basically. Right now, I'm located in the headquarters of Ukroboronprom. Our team is located here as well. We also have staff members at different companies and production facilities. We all have faith in our victory, and we are doing our utmost to accelerate this victory.
Front row.
Дар'я Кучер, твоє.
Dar'ya Kucher, Tvoye Misto. I have the following question. Several hours ago, we received info about explosions at the Antonov plant. Can you comment on that? What kind of explosions and what's the damage? I cannot really provide you with any comments on the explosions that happened at one of our enterprises. The only thing I can say at this point is that it's true that some of our companies and production facilities have been damaged. because some of our companies and production facilities have been under airstrikes. We are in the process of analyzing the damages because of the Russian aggression, and we are bending over backwards to restore those military facilities and infrastructure that are necessary for our victory. Are you planning to move some of your production facilities to Lviv region? I have already answered this question earlier. The only thing I can state right now is that for each company and production facility, we have our own scenarios, and we align these scenarios with all the regional military administrations. But as I have already mentioned, some of our production facilities and companies continue operating despite shellings and airstrikes. We are also expanding the capacities of some of our companies in other regions of Ukraine because we want to ramp up our production. We want to increase even more military vehicles, equipment, and weapons for the armed forces of Ukraine.
And I think we'll wrap up here. And I would like to thank Yuriy Husyev, Director General of concerned Ukroboronprom. Thank you so much. And we'll continue with Viktor Androshchuk, Director of the...
Дякую, всього найкращого, ми обов'язково переможемо. Слава Україні!
Thank you, all the best to all of you. Glory to Ukraine. We will definitely win.
Viktor Androshchuk, Director of the Lviv Armored Vehicles Plant. Any thoughts? Деякі думки на початку?
Слава Україні!
Glory to Ukraine. It's difficult for me to add something after what you've heard from the Director General of Ukroboronprom because we are working as part of the same team under the guidance of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. We are executing all their tasks and assignments, and it's true not only about our plant but all the companies and production facilities that are subordinate to the Ministry of Defense. So we are basically operating under martial law. All the plans and programs that were adopted in peaceful times are being brought to fruition right now with some adjustments and amendments, because you do understand that a lot of military equipment was damaged, and we have to focus on the repair and remodeling of military equipment and vehicles. We focus on those vehicles and equipment that suffered the least damage, because we want them to be back with the armed forces of Ukraine as soon as possible. As Mr. Husyev mentioned, we are working 24/7. We have lines and lines of people who want to join the ranks of our staff. In the past, we had to search for people, we had to forward special invitations, but right now that need is not there. We have lines of people who are eager to join our ranks, but we don't even have enough equipment to provide them with jobs right now. We are in close coordination with the Ministry of Defense, with the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, with the regional and local authorities. I'm very grateful to Lviv Governor Mr. Kozitsky. We are fed 3 times per day by volunteers. They provide us with blankets, with pillows. But this is necessary because we are operating 24/7. There are multiple people who have come here from other regions of the country, so we try to provide them with accommodation as well. We are working together for the sake of our country. The victory will be on our side, and I served in the military myself. And I do have faith in the fact that the armed forces of Ukraine will do everything possible for the enemy not to come even close to Lviv, and we will do our part of the job. What has changed in your operations since February the 24th? The mentality or the mindset of our people is different now. Each and every person understands that they work for the good of our country, because in the past we had to ask some people to work extra time. Right now, some of our staff members work for 12, 14, or even more hours. Some of them do not even go back home because they can receive food at work, they can even sleep at work if necessary. So this is the major difference that we can observe right now. People have a much better understanding of what we are doing, why we are doing it, who we are doing it for. Our cooperation with the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine is very tight and productive. It takes one call to sort out any outstanding issues. We receive requests and we also coordinate with the Lviv governor, with the Lviv city mayor, so this is the major difference.
Yes.
Богдана Струк, Правда.
Bogdana Struk from Lviv, you said that you have enough staff, but what about some spare parts or technical components? Do you continue procuring, or these spare parts and technical components are part of the humanitarian aid? Well, we do have some issues in this regard, but we had those issues even in peaceful times. Thanks to Ukroboronprom, we have a supply of spare parts and technical components from Europe, because you know that some of our equipment is located in the Czech Republic, in Poland, in Bulgaria. They have the same equipment, the same spare parts. So I have people working in Europe right now. They are selecting technical components, they are selecting spare parts. Logistics is more complicated right now, especially from the eastern part of Ukraine, Mariupol, Melitopol. Metal production is concentrated there. You do understand that. But we try to be creative. We try to find ways out of the situation. I'm sure that we will be able to receive things from Europe and other countries. We also use the military equipment and vehicles captured from the Russian enemy. And do not believe that the Russian military have better weapons, military vehicles or equipment. That's not true. So we will disassemble their vehicles and equipment if necessary, and we will use those spare parts to repair and remodel military equipment and vehicles for the armed forces of Ukraine. Any other questions? I have a question, if I may. What do you hear from your colleagues within the sector? What is the mood at our companies, and how are you interacting? Well, I think that there are some ambiguous thoughts battering our mind. It's easier for us because we are in the rear, right? We are the home front right now. So I think that my counterparts in Mariupol and in Kharkiv will relate to what I'm saying, because basically the plant in Kharkiv was completely decimated. So we are safer here. We are in a much better situation, but I have to recharge my phone 3 times per day because my battery is drained after all the calls and requests that I receive on a daily basis. Volunteers, authorities, everyone wants to help and support. Sometimes I even ignore, or I do not even answer certain calls and requests because I have to work so hard and everyone is so busy. But we continue working, we continue operating, and we will definitely win. I'm not really a media person, so if I said something wrong, I'm really sorry. I'm a military person. I have 20 years of experience within this sector, so everything will be fine. We will definitely win. Thank you very much. Thank you to you personally and to your entire team who is contributing to our victory with diligence and high professionalism. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to heroes.
This briefing. I would strongly encourage those of you who have not dropped your emails with our reception, check in with them. This is the way to learn to get all the announcements. And as we are planning the rest of this day and tomorrow, there are a couple of topics we are following. That includes updates from the battlefield. That includes investigation on the war crimes by the Russians, and includes situation with the energy sector of Ukraine. Thank you for doing what you do, and thanks for staying here with us. Stand with Ukraine.